new sources of revenue. The President and National Assembly should consider increasing VAT from 5 to 7.5%. We have, this suggestion had come at the beginning of the year before Ududoma and Fowler went to the National Assembly. And when we heard it, we were laughing, say it's like we are taking a hit. And I know that my friends in Lebanon are supposed to last year to quarrel with this organization.
47.
But I have no reason to shy away from here because the government is broke. The government needs money. I don't work for government, I don't speak for them. I'm sure most of you know me that I'm the one but that is the truth. But unfortunately, I don't think most of this money is not going to go to the federal government because that is more of states and local government that will take the most greatest share. So what the federal government will collect is even little. The second recommendation is that the federal government should account for and utilize stamp duties which has accrued trillions of naira in the central bank. When people read FOI, they said that there is a dispute between, is it inland revenue or what do you call it? Nine posts and somebody, and they're in court. Now, the question I put is this. How can Nigeria be accumulating trillions, yet we are borrowing, we can't find money, so it's in court? Shouldn't the Attorney General come in to the court to say, the federal government is interested? My Lord, you know we are borrowing money. There's no money even to pay your salaries. Please give this case expedited hearing. If the Attorney General of the Federation comes into this case, in 3-4 months, the thing will end. Because this is a story we've had for 3-4 years now. And by the way, whether this one is off record, when did Buhari start obeying court orders? If we are disobeying court orders for what we don't start to benefit, I'm not saying disobeying court orders. This one is like, is holding every Nigerian. Why is this case in court for so many years? And even those who sent FYI requested to know the figures, they say the matter is sub judice. What is sub judice is to say federal government owns the money or the other party because they are quarreling over who should get what. There is nothing sub judice about telling Nigerians how much has so far agreed. We are not saying the sharing formula. When they finish their case in court, the court will now decide the sharing formula. And I had expected the intervention to come from the presidency. If I'm the president and they are receiving 10 trillion naira or 4 trillion or 1 trillion and I'm looking for borrowing, I will intervene directly. I will call that whoever is making the claim. I will have a one-on-one with him and tell him to calm down because he cannot claim money. This money belongs to the federation account. The constitution has indicated the people who can share from it. Federal, state, and local. No contract written by any law, even if you are to welcome Chief Fawemi and the Chief Rotimi Williams, they cannot draft any contract that will entitle anybody to share from the federation account. When you are not the federal government, you are not the state government. Highest is that you call the person, if he's so angry, you find him some little money to go and manage himself. And if he insists on making trouble, then the powers of the state will descend on him. What is this kind of courtroom that we are still telling stories for you? Okay, let me move on. But they should account for this money. But I'm sure you agree. Review petroleum production sharing contracts. Every year, NATO will write a report to say petroleum production sharing contracts have not been reviewed. And that is costing us so much. And their last report indicated that for the past 10 years, we've lost $16 billion. And so that amounts to 1.6 billion every year. If you change this into Naira, we are discussing 500 and something to 600 billion. So why can't we do this low-hanging fruit? The next one is expedited passage and assent to the petroleum industry bill. This thing has been on since Obasanjo's time. Everybody agrees that we are going to raise more money by the time we reform the fiscals of the petroleum industry. Yet, we are looking for money. We are crying we don't have money. Something that could be done. Even the National Assembly passed one. The president, in his usual style, he runs a say no campaign. He simply said no. Now, shouldn't the petroleum industry reform bill be an executive bill? That the president and the executive should draft, through the Attorney General and the Petroleum Minister, and then handed over to the Senate President and even his men in his political party who are in the majority, and said, please, give me this thing in 3-4 months. Do you remember when Obasanjo took power? For those of you who are old enough, the ICPC this thing, he was his first this thing, and he rolled out. The president said, I want this. The leadership of the National Assembly, take it. Like now we're in financial crisis, we are looking to borrow money. That Buhari comes out tomorrow, we told the Attorney General Minister of Petroleum, say, this bill, take it, return it to me in 2-3 months. You can even pass it, go away with first, second hearing in 1 day. Send it to the committee. In 2 weeks, they've done their public hearing, and you get it back to Mr. President for assent. So we are joking. There are sources of money. We don't want to exploit it, rather we are scratching our head. Now we should consider the reduction of domestic and foreign borrowing, and instead focus on, for capital projects infrastructure, increasing public-private partnership through well-prepared projects involving MDAs, the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, and the private sector. We should revive public-private partnerships. Special purpose vehicles that gather and aggregate resources from a plethora of sources, including institutional and retail investors, to form priority capital projects. For instance, if we say we are building new railways, we are building new routes, the idea of an investor always in Nigeria is one European or Caucasian or one Lebanese or the man speaking some funny accents, coming in with a briefcase and pretending to be an investor and going to First Bank or UBA and borrow our own money and recycle it. If there is transparency and accountability, you can even get money from retail investors, not the big institutional investors. Any of us here can invest some money into those huge projects, and they will aggregate it, and you have the prospectus and the memorandum which shows that in the 4th or 5th year that this project will turn around and will begin to yield profits, which you can now begin to be part of sharing. It's always this idea that if it is not a white man coming in and if the idea of an investor is a white man, then we are always falling into this trap. So these things can be more properly managed. Then process and structure issues, the usuals about templates, let them do it on time. We've said this year after year. New budget preparation templates. Now should insist on submission of evaluation of results of programs. And we can't overlap these points. Separate the ministries of power, works, and housing. If we have had this for 4 years, can we ask His Excellency that this is the next level? If at least this next level is what we get, separate these 3 ministries. They are too big. And giving them 500 billion or 400 billion is peanuts, because each of these ministries can chop up $1 trillion in a year. And all you need to do is to put somebody with the right knowledge and attitude and with the right skills who will now concentrate on working in these 3 ministries. If we get these 3 ministries right, Nigeria is actually on its way to accelerated economic growth. We've said it, disaggregate the money that comes in as statutory transfers, then even the money for sustainable development goals, right from the Obasanjo's days when they were calling it MDG. Like now, if you go there, they just see people for 5.5 billion, no details. No details. So how do you track, if you are a budget monitor, how do you track this kind of money? And they've also started doing this thing for the new, the new cash cow now, the Northeast. 40-something billion, 45 billion for the Northeast, no details. You go to the vote of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, another 10 billion, no details. So if you say you want to monitor the budget, where do you start and where do you stop? We must be able to see the details. Because my insistence is that if from the Obasanjo's days, we've been spending about 50 billion every year on MDGs, and now it is MDGs, poverty would have been reduced. Because this is more money. Somebody can decide to put it in his pocket. Then you go to Bayelsa State and say you are looking for SDGs. Or you go to Kwara State and say you are looking for SDGs. Somebody will ask you, what do you mean? Excuse me? So, we need details of these things in accordance with law. We're also saying that we need details of that the President should set a consolidated debt limits in accordance with Section 42 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. We won a case at the Federal High Court, and the court mandated the government to set the debt limits. It's over a year. They have failed and refused to set the debt limits. And we are trying to sign the Attorney General for consent, and it's like nobody is signing the papers. We have put before the judges and the district. They've been sitting on it for how many months now? Huh? Good. Because we are saying if you don't want to obey the law, we will start from 49, we send it for contempt. We got this judgment in March last year, right? It's a year now. We are under section 42. The which judge was that? Yeah. And they've not appealed. They've not appealed. So if they've appealed, it's a different ballgame. It's subsisting. There's no appeal against this order that the government should set the debt limits so that they can stop this borrowing that doesn't make sense. Then in agriculture, the usual story, it has left seeds and seedling, which Akin Wumi used to do before he went to African Development Bank. The new man in charge now is now voting for, what do you call it? Can anybody guess? Value chains. Cassava value chain, 1 billion. What is a value chain? Maize value chain, 2 billion. Cotton value chain. The value chain, if I understand like cassava, starts from planting, weeding, harvesting, preservation, and possibly processing it. Because the idea of the value chain is that we can't be exporting raw products. From cassava, for instance, you can get industrial starch for pharmaceutical industries and for the textile industries. You can produce ethanol. You can also do chippings and pellets for animals. Of course, you can do the usual dye. You can do some other flour. So the expectation, if you say cassava value chain, the question becomes, what and what value have you added? If it is maize value chain, what and what have you added? So just say maize value chain is no story. If you want to monitor 5 billion maize value chain, where do you begin? Maybe you go to the West office and say, sir, I want to monitor maize value chain. We need the details of all those value chain. And then we are calling for proper use of extension services in the Ministry of Agriculture. This ministry has so many institutes, research institutes that are doing a lot of work, tremendous good work, but they are not moving it to the farmers. Farmers are not utilizing it. So it's like you are researching, you are producing, but it's not useful to your community and society. So we are saying invest more in extension services to carry the products of the research to the farm. And then, considering that you have so many agencies, research institutes, why don't you rationalize? Or tell each of them to focus on one crop and give us good research information that will in fact increase yield per hectare, also increase their resilience to pests, and a lot of other things that we see in other countries. Education, we ask for 50% of the 13%. Health, we also ask for 50%. And then we also say health insurance should be compulsory if we want to realize universal health education. Establish the Health Bank of Nigeria, which will provide single-digit capital loans for the development of the health sector beyond budgetary appropriation. Share capital to be subscribed to by the Ministry of Finance and Regional and International Development Bank. It's just like a development bank. And then move the basic health care provision fund from service-wide votes to statutory transfers. Works. In works, we are calling for a road fund and a road management authority act. Raise funds from a plethora of sources, including toll gates. We want the toll gates back on the road. We need to get money to maintain the roads. And special surcharge on some commodities, including fuel. If you look at the law setting up the FEMA, it says that 5% surcharge should be on every liter of fuel sold. But the government hasn't summoned up the courage to do that because of the politics around petroleum products. Establish special purpose vehicles together and aggregate resources for institutional and retail investors for investment in the sector. Housing. We want them to reorganize and re-strategize the National Housing Fund. Because just putting money in the budget, 30 billion to construct houses, is an old story. It's not sustainable. Make sure people suffer deductions from their salaries and whatever. But make sure those who suffer deductions also benefit. Don't deduct money and then put it in your pocket and then workers will be complaining. Let's revive it because you can get a lot of money for the rehabilitation of the housing sector. And electricity, we need to rethink what we are doing with these districts because they don't have the resources to continue. Government needs to think straightforward to bring in new investors. Niger Delta Conundrum, we for instance looked at this year, total money going to the Niger Delta is about 201. from the Minister of Niger Delta, NDDC, and Amnesty Program. It's the only Minister of Niger Delta that has details. The others no details. And this excludes money going to the states, they are 13%. Yes, they need money, but if they tell me that 201 billion will be actually invested in the Niger Delta this year, apart from the votes of the states and local governments, I will tell them they are not telling the truth. If this kind of money has been going in every year and properly invested and accounted for, the crisis in the Niger Delta will have been abated. So let us get the details of this thing. Petroleum subsidy, they should stop this business of under or over recovery. It will save not less than 1 trillion naira, remove every subsidy. I'm sure many of you here will be wondering when I started speaking for those who want Nigerians to quote and unquote suffer more. But there is no way we can make progress to do infrastructure to resolve the systems. Not going to help anybody. Railways. We should stop this idea of running railways as a monopoly. We borrowed so much from the Chinese. And I'm sure those of you who got invitations saw the FY we sent to His Excellency, Governor Minister to give us the details of how much we borrowed from the Chinese. We can't continue borrowing. Because the Chinese are known to be hard bargainers. In some countries, they're taking over railways, they're taking over airports, seaports. And nobody knows what we mortgage, what we told them that we will give in the event we default. And the way we're going, we will soon default. The money is not there to pay back. So, the railway should no longer be run as a monopoly. Open it up to the private sector to come in through amendment of extant laws. I thought some years ago the Senate said they were amending this law. I don't know what happened, whether they finished the amendment or whatever happened. Then we borrowed money to build railways between Abuja and Kaduna. And the last time I heard from His Excellency, the Honorable Minister, he said that the federal government is subsidizing Abuja, Kaduna with about 40 million in loans. So instead of even doing cost recovery, we are still subsidizing. Now you borrowed money, which you pay back to build a railway. And instead of recovering the cost, you are subsidizing. Where will the money to pay back these loans come from? We are behaving like a people who don't have a tomorrow or understand what is happening. Run the railways on cost recovery or even profit basis. We can't continue pretending. And new railway tracks, part of the challenge we have is that what should be an evidence-led decision is made on the altar of politics. All these new railways are constructed. There is no evidence of viability in terms of route analysis to say there are 5,000 people who wish to go from Abuja to Lagos or Lagos to Abuja or over to so place every day. And therefore, if you put a railway line, this railway can carry 1,000, 2,000 passengers at a time. It will always get passengers to be on this route. Rather, we are constructing railways in places where we are not sure of the traffic. So new railway tracks should be constructed on the evidence of studies, showing the viability of the corridor in terms of existing passenger and goods to be moved. You can't simply finish constructing railway lines because you have political power, and you take some of them into what is the next republic? Nigeria. Excuse me. Who is traveling on that route? How will we pay back? You have political power, take it there. But there are established routes from where tens of thousands of Nigerians move every day. There are established routes that tens of thousands of Nigerians, I don't need to call the routes for you, but everybody should know. You ignored all of them. There are no rail tracks to move them. And then you ignore all of them and you're establishing rail tracks in places where I don't know where they are being. Ministry of Mines and Steel. If you go to Section 121 of the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act, it provides for an environmental protection and rehabilitation fund, which is a lesson we drew from the poor management of the environment in oil extraction. This one says that every year, every extracting company will pay a certain amount of its profits and turnover, whether you have polluted the environment or not. So this money will be there. Once anything happens, you don't need to come back to government. You take from that fund and remedy the environment. This is for solid mineral. But in 2007, this law was made. Information available to us appears to say that they have not set up this fund. rather than making provisions in the budget for the rehabilitation of mining sites. And I think I sent an FOI, we sent an FOI on this thing some weeks ago, which I also circulated to you. And I didn't see it in many of the newspapers, but anyway, or anybody talking about it. Circulate this thing and publish it for Nigeria's interest. You are not promoting CSG. This business is for all of us. Something that we should have saved money on, we are still budgeting for it since 2007. So properly fund the Solid Minerals Development Fund, including the provision of funds to empower artisanal miners. There is a very big issue with this ministry. Go back and check the revenue profile framework of the government in the last 10 years. This ministry has never brought in more than 2 billion at a time. But each year, the ministry will get an allocation in excess of 50 billion. So what exactly are we doing? We are diversifying. The ministry does not get in money, but we give it multiples of money. What is it doing? Is it not time we ask them to account for what they are doing? Science and technology, rationalize those, too many of them, too many agencies under it, too many research institutes. Make them begin to research in a value for money manner. Tell them to say, you, give us this one. If you are giving us a car, or you give us X or Y, and after some years we see how you are producing. It shouldn't be like you get money just for the fun of getting it. We assign things that are important to our nation in the areas of technology to each of them. Things that are close to 100. We will have up to 100 items assigned to them, and at the end of the day, after 2-3 years, we review it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is more or less like the review. The other ones here is about frivolities. I've mentioned some of them, but I think in your own time you can look at them. There's free frivolities everywhere. There are still people who think that they can get money out of nothing. But let me even just for whatever it is worth. Let me go to the Ministry of Trade. Where is the Ministry of Trade? And can you see the Ministry of Trade?